Success isn't just about doing more. It's about doing less, on purpose. It's about what you refuse to do. Not just the habits you build, but the ones you eliminate. I've seen this pattern over and over. Working with high performers, studying successful people. There's one thing they all have in common. Discipline. But not just discipline to take action. Discipline to say no. No to distractions. No to excuses. No to the noise. Here's the thing. Success isn't reserved for the lucky or the naturally talented. It's for people who commit to clarity. And who protect their focus like it's their life force. Because in a way, it is. Success isn't about doing everything. It's about doing the right things. And cutting everything else out. Now tonight, we're not talking about what successful people do. You've heard that before, right? Morning routines, workout habits. 5 a.m. alarms. Yeah. That's old news. Let's flip it. Let's talk about what successful people don't do. The things they avoid like the plague. The behaviors, habits, and choices they shut the door on. Because they know how destructive they can be. These 12 things we're about to go through. They're deal breakers. Success killers. And eliminating them? That's where real transformation begins. So here's what I want you to do. Be brutally honest with yourself as we go through this. Ask yourself. Am I guilty of this? Is this holding me back? And am I ready to let it go? Because the moment you stop doing these 12 things, you free yourself to focus on the stuff that really moves the needle. Alright. Let's go. Number 1, successful people never let fear run the show. Fear's real. Everyone feels it. Even the most successful people you know. But here's the difference. They don't let it drive. They hear the fear. They see it sitting there in the back seat. But they don't hand over the keys. They move through fear. Not away from it. Most people. They hear fear whisper, what if it goes wrong? And they stop right there. What if I fail? What if I look stupid? What if I'm not ready? That whisper kills more dreams than failure ever will. But successful people, they know something you might have forgotten. Fear is temporary. Regret? That lasts forever. It's not about being fearless. That's a myth. It's about courage. And courage means taking action while you're afraid. Every time you move forward through fear, you shrink its power over you. So next time fear shows up, don't just freeze. Break it down. What are you really afraid of? Is it failure? Is it judgment? Is it the unknown? Call it out. Name it. Because when you name it, you can face it. Then do something. Anything. One small action. Because action kills fear faster than thinking ever will. Fear is just a thought. A story your brain tells you about what might happen. But what if instead of asking, what if I fail? You asked, what if I succeed? That's what successful people do. They shift the narrative. They stop looking at the risk. And start seeing the reward. Now be honest. What fear's been holding you back? Write it down if you have to. Then ask. What's the first step I can take to move through it? Don't wait for fear to disappear. That day may never come. Move anyway. Because fear only has the power you give it. The second you stop feeding it, it starts to fade. Number 2, successful people don't make excuses. Excuses are seductive. They feel comfortable. They let you off the hook. But they also keep you stuck. I didn't have time. The timing wasn't right. It wasn't my fault. Sound familiar? Here's what you need to hear. Every excuse you make is a brick in the wall between you and your potential. Excuses steal your power. Because when you blame the world, or your job, or your past, you're saying, "I have no control." And the minute you believe that, you lose your momentum. But successful people flip it. They take ownership. Even when things go wrong, they ask, "What could I have done better? What's my next step?" They don't waste time pointing fingers. They move forward. Now here's the uncomfortable part. Excuses aren't just a problem. They're a habit. The more you use them, the more natural they feel. But successful people break that cycle. They replace excuses with action. They don't ask, "Why didn't this work?" They ask, "What will I do next?" That question keeps them moving, even when things go sideways. Let me ask you something tough. Have you been making excuses? Seriously. Think about it. What's the story you keep telling yourself? That's keeping you small. And is it even true? Or is it just fear in disguise? Successful people don't let other people's excuses infect their mindset either. If someone's always blaming, always complaining, they set boundaries. They keep their circle clean. Because here's the deal. Excuses are contagious. So is ownership. You choose which one you want to live in. Want to start eliminating excuses from your life? Here's how. Start listening to your own language. Are you saying, "I can't because"? Or, "If only I had"? That's a red flag. Flip the script. Instead of "I can't," ask, "How can I?" Instead of obstacles, look for options. It's a small change. But it changes everything. Because excuses explain why you're stuck. Responsibility is how you get unstuck. Successful people own their results. Good, bad, or messy. And that ownership, that's freedom. Number 3, they don't lose focus. Focus is the currency of achievement. Successful people know their attention is their most valuable asset. So they protect it relentlessly. They don't chase every shiny thing. They don't say yes to everything. They say no, a lot. Why? Because they know that every yes is a no to something else. They focus on what matters most. And let everything else go. Focus is rare these days. We live in a world designed to distract you. Notifications, emails, endless tabs open in your brain. But here's what successful people have figured out. If you don't control your focus, something else will. And when that happens, your goals, they slip right through your fingers. Here's how it usually starts. You sit down to work. You've got a plan. But then, you check your phone. You reply to a text. You open YouTube just for a quick break. Before you know it, 2 hours are gone. And you've made zero progress. Sound familiar? It's not a time problem. It's a focus problem. Successful people lock in. They decide what matters most. And they go all in. They don't just hope to stay focused. They engineer it. They block distractions. They schedule deep work. They guard their priorities like a hawk. And they understand something most people miss. You can't focus if you're unclear. So they get crystal clear. They don't say, "I want to be successful." They say, "I want to earn X, build Y, help Z, by this date." Specific. Measurable. Real. That clarity sharpens their focus like a laser. Here's another mistake people make. Multitasking. You think it makes you productive. It doesn't. It splits your brain. It slows you down. It drains your energy. Successful people know this. They focus on one thing at a time. One task. One conversation. One goal. Then they move on. That's how they get more done in 4 hours than most people do in a whole week. But focus isn't just mental. It's physical too. Your energy is fuel. And successful people protect it. They sleep. They eat well. They move their body. They create routines that sustain focus. Because a burned-out brain can't focus. And success takes stamina. So ask yourself, where's your focus going right now? Are you scattering it across a dozen things? Or are you channeling it into what truly matters? Start small. Pick your top 3 priorities for the week. Write them down. Build your schedule around them. Protect that time like it's sacred. Because it is. Number 4, successful people never dwell on the past. The past is a teacher. But it's not your home. Successful people don't live there. They don't replay old failures on loop. They don't cling to old victories either. They learn. They move on. Now don't get it twisted. They do reflect. They study what worked. They study what didn't. But they don't sit in the regret. And they don't let nostalgia trap them either. Because here's the trap. You start saying things like, if only I hadn't made that mistake. If only I could go back. Or, I used to be on top. I was crushing it a few years ago. But guess what? That was then. This is now. Yesterday's success won't carry you today. And yesterday's failures don't define you either. Successful people don't let the past become an anchor. They use it like a compass. They say, what did I learn? How can I grow? Then they move. That's the difference. Still carrying something from your past. A mistake. A missed opportunity. A decision you regret. Time to let it go. Here's an exercise for you. Write it down. All of it. The thing that's been weighing on your heart. Then write this. What did I learn? Write that down too. Now tear it up. Burn it. Throw it away. Whatever you gotta do. Release it. You can't create your future. If you're stuck staring at the rearview mirror. The road ahead is where your power is. And that's where successful people keep their eyes. Number 5, they never waste time on negativity. Negativity is a silent killer. It drains your energy. It clouds your thinking. It drags you down, slow and steady. And the worst part? You often don't even realize it's happening. Successful people cut that off. Fast. Whether it's negative people, negative thoughts, or toxic environments. They don't tolerate it. They choose peace. They choose progress. They choose power. Let's be clear. They're not living in some fairy tale bubble. They face problems. They feel frustration. They have bad days too. But they don't live there. They don't marinate in gossip. They don't dwell in complaints. They don't waste breath blaming. They focus on what they can control. They shift the narrative. Instead of, why me? They ask, what's the lesson? What's the move? What's next? And internally, they guard their self-talk like a vault. That little voice in your head. If it's telling you, you're not good enough, you better check it. Successful people reprogram that voice. They replace doubt with belief. They replace limitation with possibility. They train their minds to stay on their side. Let me ask you this. Where is negativity showing up in your life right now? Is it a relationship? Is it a thought pattern? Is it your news feed? Whatever it is, You've got to confront it. And you've got to replace it. Because successful people know. Negativity is a tax on your dreams. And it's one they're not willing to pay. Number 6, successful people never compare themselves to others. This one's sneaky. Comparison feels productive. But it's poison. It steals your joy. It kills your confidence. And it distracts you from your path. Successful people don't waste time watching someone else's lane. They stay locked in on their own. Yeah, they admire others. They get inspired. But they don't get derailed. Because here's the truth. You're not seeing their whole story. You're seeing the highlight reel. And comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's curated feed? That's a losing game. You don't know their struggle. You don't know their sacrifices. You don't know what it cost them to get there. So why would you measure your worth with their ruler? Successful people understand. The only person they compete with is the version of themselves from yesterday. They live in abundance. They know your win doesn't take away from mine. They celebrate others. Because it proves what's possible. If they can do it, so can you. Here's your challenge. Next time you feel envy, flip it. Turn it into motivation. Turn it into curiosity. Ask, what can I learn from their success? What can I apply to my journey? Because that is where growth lives. Not in jealousy, but in extraction. Successful people don't waste energy comparing. They use every drop of it to build. To get better. To go deeper. To go further. Because they know. Comparison is a distraction. And distractions kill dreams. Number 7, successful people never let their emotions control them. Now let's get something straight. Successful people feel things. They feel fear. They feel frustration. They feel pressure, doubt, overwhelm, just like you. But here's the difference. They don't react impulsively. They respond intentionally. They've built the ability to pause. To take a breath. To step back. And ask. Is this emotion leading me? Or misleading me? Because when you're led by anger, or paralyzed by anxiety, you start making decisions that sabotage your future. Emotions are information, not instructions. Successful people listen to their emotions, but they don't obey them. When things go wrong, they don't explode. They don't spiral. They regroup. They recalibrate. They move forward with clarity, not chaos. Here's a tip. When a strong emotion hits, pause and name it. Say it out loud. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling nervous. I'm feeling jealous. That simple act puts space between you and the feeling. Now you can lead it, instead of letting it lead you. Because emotional control is a superpower. It helps you build better relationships. It helps you earn trust. It helps you stay locked in on your vision, even when everything around you is falling apart. Number 8, they never waste time. Time. It's the one resource you never get back. And successful people treat it like gold. They don't waste it on drama. On distractions. On perfectionism. On waiting until the right time. They use it. They invest it. They make every hour count. Now don't get it twisted. They're not working 24/7. They're just intentional. They plan their days. They prioritize. They know what matters and what doesn't. Because they understand this rule. Every yes is a no to something else. Say yes to mindless scrolling. That's a no to your side hustle. Say yes to endless emails. That's a no to your creative project. You only get so many hours. Successful people guard them fiercely. And they're not afraid to say no. No to things that don't align. No to energy-draining commitments. No to stuff that pulls them off track. They also don't get stuck chasing perfect. They ship it. They publish it. They launch it, flaws and all. Because done beats perfect. Perfectionism is just fear in disguise. It tells you, wait. It's not ready yet. You're not ready yet. But successful people don't wait. They move. They adjust along the way. They improve as they go. And guess what? That's why they win. Number 9, they never surround themselves with toxic energy. You've heard this before. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And it's true. If you hang around 5 complainers, guess what you'll become? If you hang with 5 builders, you start building. Successful people are selective with their circle. They don't tolerate drama. They don't entertain gossip. They don't hang out with energy vampires. They build relationships that lift them, that challenge them, that push them to think bigger. This doesn't mean they're rude or cold. It means they're clear on their standards. They'll love you. But they'll love you from a distance if you're toxic. Sometimes toxicity isn't loud. It's subtle. It's the friend who always doubts your dreams. The coworker who laughs when you talk about growth. The family member who projects their own fears onto you. Successful people recognize that. And set boundaries. They fill their lives with people who share their values. People who take ownership. People who speak life, not limitation. So take a moment. Think about your inner circle. Who's pushing you forward? Who's holding you back? Time to get clear. Time to upgrade your environment. Because your future depends on it. Number 10, they never stay stagnant. Stagnation is slow death. You don't notice it right away. But it creeps in. Comfort turns into complacency. Routine turns into a rut. Next thing you know, you're stuck. Successful people, they never stop growing. They stay curious. They challenge themselves. They lean into change, even when it's uncomfortable. They know that success isn't a destination. It's a moving target. You hit one level. Great. Now what's next? They don't get lazy with progress. They keep reaching. Because here's what they understand. If you're not growing, you're shrinking. And growth doesn't happen by accident. You gotta read. You gotta stretch. You gotta risk. And yeah, that means failing sometimes. But failing forward is how you get stronger. So here's the question. What are you actively learning right now? What challenge are you chasing? If nothing comes to mind, you might be in that dangerous zone. The, I'm good where I'm at, zone. And that's exactly where success starts to stall. Number 11, they never compromise their values. This one is huge. Because success without integrity, that's just a fast track to regret. Successful people know what they stand for. And they live it, daily. They don't cut corners. They don't chase short-term wins by crossing long-term lines. Their values guide every move. Their name means something. Their word carries weight. Why? Because they've earned that trust. And they refuse to lose it. Doesn't mean they're perfect. But it means they're principled. Even when no one's watching. Even when it's inconvenient. And that consistency, that's what gives their success depth. It's not just what they built. It's how they built it. So ask yourself, what are your non-negotiables? And are you living in alignment with them every day? Because real success starts on the inside. And finally, number 12, they never stop believing in themselves. This might be the most important one. Because without belief, you won't even try. You'll hesitate. You'll overthink. You'll give up when it gets hard. But successful people, they believe deeply, even when there's no evidence yet. Even when the world says they're crazy. Even when they've failed 100 times. They keep going. Because they believe they can grow. They can improve. They can figure it out. It's not arrogance. It's conviction. A quiet inner knowing that they're built for more. And that belief, it creates momentum. It drives action. It builds results. And those results reinforce the belief even more. So what about you? Have you stopped believing? Or are you still showing up for yourself? Even when it's hard? Because at the end of the day, belief is a choice. You can choose to believe you've got what it takes. You can choose to believe you're just getting started. You can choose to believe that success is within reach. As long as you keep walking. Now look. You don't have to master all 12 of these today. But you do have to start. Pick one. Just one. Ask yourself. What's one thing I can stop doing today? That's been holding me back. Then stop doing it. Build that discipline. Protect that focus. And keep stacking those small wins. Because success isn't a single decision. It's a series of decisions. Repeated. Relentlessly. So stop waiting. Start eliminating. And watch what happens. This is how you win.